hosting. This would be Mayor Bucks Clark's time, but he's not with us, but he has sent a very good representative in Captain Tim Pillack. So, hello today.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm glad that you could come.
So am I. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I don't know where to start. There's so many things going on. So I'm going to, first of all, we're not going to assume that everybody, a lot of people probably know who you are. There are others who don't, and we're going to give them that privilege now, because I'm going to ask you to give a little capsule about yourself and your life.
Okay. Once again, I'm Captain Tim Pillack. I've been on the police department for 33 years now. I'm the captain in charge of investigations, which include obviously the detectives that work, the crime lab, the school resource officers, and the Tri-County Drug Enforcement Task Force. Those are the officers that work under my command.
Wow.
I'm married. I have one daughter and a grandson. I've lived in Waterloo for the last 35 years of my life.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so have I. I've been here. Your education, where'd you go to school?
Graduated from Hampton High, which is about an hour from here. Then I went to Hawkeye Community College and got my 2-year degree there. And then I went to Northeast Missouri State in Kirksville, Missouri, to get my BA.
Wow.
So I've got my
You've been around.
Been around, had some schooling, and been working for a long time.
Oh, right. I can see that. And are your parents still living?
Yes, they are. Fortunately,
Wonderful.
they're still alive. They're both 81 years old and living in Des Moines.
Oh, that is great.
Yes,
that really
I'm
is
very
great.
thankful for that.
Yeah. If you had to put in a sentence or two, what are the greatest changes you've seen in your lifetime of being on the police force? Is it the technology? Is it?
Well, obviously it's technology and mostly the computers and the video cameras.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have just changed the way police work is being done. Not only from how we process the crime scenes, but how we use the computers to investigate, how we even use the social media on the computers to help investigate crimes.
Okay.
And so it's a good tool for us. And the computers have added to officer safety. We're able to run license checks and wanted checks on people before we even stop them. And so it gives the officer an idea of who might be in the car and if there's if they've had any previous encounters with the police and those kind of things. And so it just helps us with safety issues also.
Mm-hmm. Tell me this, is the police department up to their limit as far as the number?
Yes, we are. We are at our full strength, which is 125 sworn officers. And so we're doing quite well with that. And we've been busy this summer, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a pretty good summer for the most part.
Okay. Going back again to technology, your cars, I've not been in one. I keep saying I'm going to come over and get a ride with you guys.
You can ride anytime.
But they must be light years away from when you started as to what is going on now.
Very much so. When I first started, we had one radio in the car for both officers to use, and we had one red light on the top of the car.
Okay.
and a shotgun, and that was about it. Well, now like I said, we have a computer screen, and that computer has internet access, so officers can do reports remotely from the squad cars.
Wow.
And then when they pull into the police station parking lot, that they're automatically downloaded into the regular system. We write all of our tickets electronically now. So once again, when I came on, it was a regular ticket that you held in your hand, a ticket book. Well, now they do it on the computer, and they print out a ticket and give that receipt, so to speak, to the driver of the car.
Okay.
And they issue a summons.
Does the driver? Do we still have the same? I guess it would be an option. You used to have a little box you could stick it in downtown. Your ticket.
You can still send it in, yeah.
You still send.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll take that money if you send it in.
Okay.
But so, it's what's called, and so inside the squad cars, like I said, we have the computers, we have the in-car video cameras to record both audioly and visually the traffic stops or the encounters that we have with police or people on the street. And so those things really have increased the capabilities of the police officer on the street.
Yeah, and probably helps to clear things up when you can see what actually happened at the scene. As in the past, you would not have had that capability.
Right, we use our video cameras for a lot of different things. Obviously, one is to look at and make sure that our officers are doing their job the way the police department wants it done, whether they're doing it correctly, making sure that they're treating their citizens that we have with the respect that they deserve. But it also helps us record information so we can review it later to go back and do our reports. So it gives the officer the ability to look back over what happened that is recorded to help refresh his memory when he or she types their reports. And it also helps when somebody might have a complaint against the police officer. They can we can look it over and compare what the complaint was and whether or not it's a valid complaint or not. And obviously, if it is a valid complaint, we will deal with that accordingly.
Wanted to ask you, since downtown has changed so very, very much for the better, how has that affected traffic? For instance, the reason I'm asking, I know that there's going to be a fest tonight, and John Deere's involved in that, and some other people, vendors and so forth, will be involved in that. Are we having to have more policemen downtown for special events, or more just on an everyday basis in the downtown area? How does that look now?
Well, it's a combination of everything. As a matter of fact, this weekend, like you said, is the John Deere Festival downtown at the Pavilion, and Jefferson Street is closed off between Park Avenue and 3rd Street to allow access on both sides of the pavilion for safety purposes. And there are always officers assigned to these events, either through the police department or whoever's holding the event hires off-duty police officers to work. And it just adds to the safety and security of everybody involved. Hopefully, with our presence, it'll be a peaceful and event, and nothing happens, and that's what we all strive for.
Okay.
And it's the same thing with the downtown as a whole. I mean, we have our during the daytime. Actually every shift we have officers working downtown, and in the daytime the officers like to get out of their cars and stop at the businesses downtown and see what's going on. And then also in the evening as well, the officers do what we call business checks in the downtown bars and restaurants just to make sure, just to let people know that we're there, and if they have any incidences, we can handle it.
We are so used to looking at TV and believing what we see, and most of the times, at least I'm told, it's not quite like that.
That's true, yes.
It really doesn't happen like they show it on TV all the time. But we have had such a change for the better for downtown Waterloo, which is affecting everything else, in a positive manner. Buildings going up, the new bank that's downtown, and I think there's another one being built. That kind of thing brings more business to downtown. Who takes care of the parking situation? Who would I be talking to if I wanted to know everything I needed to know about, is there more parking? Is there enough? What do people?
For most events, there seems to be adequate parking downtown. When we have the festivals on the west side of town, there's the parking ramp at 5th and Commercial Street, and then of course the on-street parking. And also in the area of the Arts Center and Young Arena, the city has purchased a lot of those old buildings and had them torn down and made extra parking there. They're building the new recreation center down on Jefferson Street, and that's going to be surrounded by more parking. And then on the east side, when we have events at Lincoln Park, once again, just a block away is the parking ramp, and also a block away to the east is City Hall, and that parking is available free, obviously, for people that attend these events.
Would you tell us a little bit about where we are? You said earlier that we, or maybe even before we went on, but we were talking about we have had a decent summer so far as if you're speaking about crime and those kinds of things, as compared to other years. What does it look like? We're almost, it's almost Christmas time again.
Yeah.
It's almost the end of the year again.
Yeah, school started and
yes,
we're back at it.
Exactly.
So far the year has been, I think overall, a very good year. One thing that's really been a thorn on our side is there's been a lot of daytime burglaries, home burglaries.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
more and more husbands and wives, moms and dads go to work every day.
Mhm.
And now that school's in session, you know,
Right.
there seems to be a lot of empty houses. And so we need help from the neighbors and stuff to keep an eye on things for us. And to report suspicious activity, to report unusual people that are in their neighborhoods, you know. The people that are in their homes during the day, if they can watch outside, watch for their neighbors that are working, try to keep a lid on those things. You know, we unfortunately we have seen an increase in those type of crimes this summer, but
And,
overall, like with violent crimes and things like that, it's been down from years in the past, and it's good.
Police in schools.
The school resource officers,
Mhm.
yes,
Mhm.
we continue to have them. We've had them now since 1990. Back when I was a school resource officer, one of the first ones that started back
Remember that,
in 1990, and we've been doing it ever since. And we have 6 officers that are assigned to the schools, and then we have a supervisor, you know, directly in charge of those. And they work closely with the school and the school principals and the school administration to make sure that we have a good school year.
Okay, that's a good thing.
You know, and
The neighborhood associations, is that still something that is needed and is helpful to the police and to the neighborhoods?
Very-
They have concerns?
very much so. We have, I think, 20 neighborhood organizations, and some are very active, some not quite as
Mhm.
quite as active.
Mhm.
But the ones that are active, here again, they're helping out their neighbors with, for example, what I talked about with the daytime burglaries. They're keeping an eye on each other. They know who their neighbors are,
Mhm.
and that's a good thing.
Yes.
The more you know your neighbors' names and who they are and things like that, we tend to keep an eye on each other a little bit more than if we don't know who we're talking to.
For sure.
So those organizations have been very helpful for us in the past and, you know, as we move forward.
Talking about the burglaries and so forth, have there been, is the daytime people not being there, as you were saying earlier, have there been daytime invasions of home with people in it?
Not too often, and that's good. Most of these incidences are, you know, occurred when the house is empty, you know, and people are gone. And so we haven't had any, you know, direct encounters during the daytime and things like that. We've had a couple of home invasions at night. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we arrested 4 people that broke into a guy's house over off of Rainbow Drive. And I don't know if you remember that or not. And that was, you know, a nighttime home invasion. So, you know, unfortunately, they do occur once in a while, but most of these daytime burglaries occur when the house is empty and people are gone.
Well, we live off of Cedar Bend, and it must have been the night before last. There was a truck with with the windows had been broken out, and right next door to where we lived, the same thing had happened. So you never know what is going to happen, but we know that it's necessary to have our police department where it should be in terms of numbers and whatever else it takes to keep the community safe. I know that it's been, going back to the neighborhood organizations, that really, I think, was the beginning of the taking back the neighborhoods. Before it was just like wide open, you think we were the Wild West or something, you know? And because people weren't speaking, people weren't, watching, not giving information, that kind of thing. Has that been really helpful? And do you guys still go to some of those meetings just to stay in touch?
Yeah, we do. We have officers that they're assigned to those meetings, but they want to go to those meetings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have volunteered. Wow. They have volunteered to say, I want to be able to attend those meetings, and that's really good. You know, because here again, it lets the citizens, the people, you know who Officer Pillack is.
That's
you know,
right.
and get a chance to know them, and they feel comfortable talking to them. And it does open the lines of communication with the public and the police department, and so that's very helpful. Another thing that's very helpful when it comes in regards of information is we recently started a 1-800 number for Crime Stoppers. You know, and so people can call in tips on crimes anonymously. And so that
You
way.
read my mind. I was just gonna
Yeah.
ask you, is that really, if I call in, it will remain?
Yes, it remains
Okay,
anonymous.
Anonymous,
Mhm.
okay,
Yes.
yeah. Because a lot of people, you know, there's the trust factor for some people, and sometimes it's because of the actual experiences that they've had.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, if I call in, they probably will take my name down, or they'll have a way of knowing who I am, that kind of thing. But that is a good thing to have.
Right.
And here in Waterloo, I don't know whether you travel a lot or go to police conventions and that kind of stuff. Do you find that it's just about, for the same size, comparable, same size cities, even as far down as them, Port Moline, Rock Island, that kind of thing? Do you guys really get to sit around and talk to each other and compare and find out what's going on here and there and that kind of thing, and is that helpful?
Yeah, we have a couple of different things that we attend. We're part of what we call a law enforcement intelligence network. There's 6 different lean regions in the state of Iowa, and those different regions meet as a region monthly, and then they get together quarterly and yearly statewide and share that information. And here again, you know, if something's happening in Waterloo, and maybe it's a robbery or a crime spree or something like that, some of that stuff may be going on in Cedar Rapids or Iowa City. And so we pass that information on to other law enforcement agencies to get that intelligence information out there to make sure that we keep an eye on the criminals.
Okay. One of the other things that is different, certainly today, and we touched on it a little bit, but the police force and those who join the force, their backgrounds are so different now. Most of them have a BA or something in back of their name or in front of their name, wherever they put it. But a big difference. I mean, a lot of our guys, I am sure, probably graduated high school, this would be years ago, and could go right on the force, you know. And now these guys are going to college and getting degrees and that kind of thing. That makes you a different kind of police force.
Right, and that's good.
Yeah.
That's good, you know, because in college you get a lot more, you experience a lot more diversity in colleges. You know, like I said, I grew up in a town of Hampton, Iowa, 5,000 people. There weren't very many minorities in town.
Yeah.
And so when I came to Waterloo, went to college, right there you start to see the diversity and you learn about other people. And it continues on through the rest of your life. But, you know, college is good.
Yeah.
You know, and you receive that education not only in law enforcement or criminal justice related fields, but you receive or get education in all other types of fields too. Yeah, and that's good, just to make you more rounded. And, you know, with the education, the officer, you know, it has the ability to maybe bring that knowledge to the police department, and that's good for us.
Certainly, certainly. One more comparison between then and now. I know we talked about several of them, but would you encourage young men and women to think about police work as a profession?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, and for a lot of reasons. I mean, if you like working with people, if you like working outside,
Okay.
It's a good job, and it's a good paying job. It has good pay, it has good benefits, you know, and that's a thing that sometimes, you know, young people don't look at, you know, as the benefits, as, you know, retirement. But as we get a little older,
Right, you start to.
we start to pay attention to that, and it makes a big difference.
Better believe it.
And so, and it's a good career, and it's a good paying career. And that's why we have a lot of competition when it comes time to take the applications and go through the process.
Yes.
A lot of competition, and, you know, an education in part of the selection process adds points to the person's ability to get hired.
Okay.
So, and that's a good thing.
Okay. Have to ask you about women and on our local police force and how is that going? Is it hard to find applicants?
No, we've had a good a good core, and we continue to have a good core of females working for the police department, and I think that the trend will continue. We hired 2 or 3 women in the last hiring process,
Okay.
and they're doing a great job, and that's the diversity that we need.
Yeah, and I know that our police chief has been interested in that, wanting to see more African Americans, people of color, be involved with the police department. But there's also, do you have to compete with the other headhunters that are out there looking for the same thing?
Yeah, we compete against not only other law enforcement agencies, but just other employers in general.
Right.
If you're a good qualified candidate, you're wanted by a lot of different people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
For example, here in town, if you have a college education, and you're gonna have, John Deere coming after you,
Mhm.
wanting to hire you. You're gonna have, the police department coming at you. You're gonna have other businesses in town that know that you're educated and qualified. They're gonna want you to work for them.
Right.
And so that puts the employee in a good spot.
It does, it certainly does. Have we made the progress, and maybe I should save this for, but I know you can answer this as well. In terms of, again, about diversity, it's been a while, in my memory, since there have been any African-American females on the force.
Yeah, it's
You
been-
know, at one time, I think there were 3 at the
Yeah.
same time, or at least 2. I know
Yeah.
there was at
Yeah.
least 2 at the same time.
But it's been a few years.
Yeah, it's been a few years, and they're not coming, or they're not interested, or whatever that is. And I know that there must be some efforts to do outreach. How is that done? Do you appear
Well,
at different places, or?
the Chief Terrelka, gets out in the community quite a bit.
Yeah.
And goes to different organizations and meetings, and it's always always trying to look for new, good, qualified candidates, and encourage them to apply for the police department. We visit the area colleges, things like that, but it's tough. I won't deny that, it's tough, and we continue to try to strive to get more minorities on the police department. But lately, especially, females, like you said, we haven't had, a female of color hired for several years.
For years, for a lot of years, yeah. And how many African-American males do you have on the force?
Currently, I think we have 4. Yeah.
In spite of that, though, you said earlier that you would encourage people that it's a good,
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
good
it's a good
job,
career,
it's a
it's a
good
good
career. Yeah. Well, I know we're gonna be giving, the new employment exam and testing is gonna be in the springtime. And so if somebody's interested in becoming a police officer, the easiest way to do it, or to keep up on the Waterloo Police Department, is to check our website out at, waterloopolice.com. I mean, it's real easy. It's like, gives you all the information that you need about the police department. And when the hiring process starts, it'll be posted on our website.
Okay. Let's just say that someone trying to drum up some business for you guys.
You bet.
Who's really interested, haven't taken the test, maybe thinking about it and so forth. Is there a person that I could call? If I had questions, could I call you, for instance, and say, I'm thinking that I wanna be, a police person?
Yeah, you can call me.
Can you answer some questions for me?
Yeah, you can call me, you can call down and talk to the watch commander, call Chief Terrelka.
Okay.
Any of those will be able to help you, give you the information. Even email us, on our website, click on our email, and give us a number to have us call you back, and chat about it. Just the other day, I got an email from a female that goes to school at a college in Illinois, but she's
Okay.
from this area, and she's going to be graduating in the spring, and she said, I'm looking to be a police officer. What do I need to do? I said, well, there's a lot of different things. I said, give me a call. She called me back. We chatted for about 15, 20 minutes about the Waterloo Police Department,
Right.
Waterloo in general, things like that.
Uh-huh.
And so there's an example of how, we can get things going and get you the information that you may want about a career in law enforcement.
Okay. Well, you have put in how many years?
33.
33 years. So you were just a
I
babe
was
in
a
short
young-
pants when you
I
started.
was a youngin', I was a youngin' when I first started, but it's been a good
Isn't that
career.
something?
I've been pretty fortunate.
How are we doing with traffic with all the building that's going on? Is it toward Evansdale? Am I in the right?
We have building
The
going
roads,
on.
the
Yeah, all
roads.
the roads, yeah,
In
that,
particular, the roads.
now Highway 20, 380 is now open again.
Oh.
And so that's a good thing.
Okay.
But it's gonna, obviously it's gonna close down the
Close
other,
again?
the other lanes next summer. They
Okay.
repaired the two southern lanes, this summer, and then next summer they're going to change the route, and then they're gonna repair and replace all the northbound lanes.
Okay.
And so, but it's needed. Unfortunately, you gotta suffer a little bit during the construction season.
You do.
But, in the long run, it's gonna be better for traffic flow and for traffic safety, and that's the two main concerns.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered a lot.
And quickly, I think, and that's good.
And quickly, but certainly if we left anything out, we got a couple of minutes left here, you certainly are welcome to those. I will bring up one subject that is serious, and I guess will always be, we'll never agree on should we have guns or shouldn't we. In these burglaries, I think that we have found out that the guns are so easy to get. And I think parents worry about that, because, the kid's not gonna go buy the gun, come home and say, look, Mom, gee, I got a gun.
Right.
That's not gonna happen. When they get these guns, they think it's for some reason, I don't know whether it's to, what's involved, usually drugs or whatever. But there is that concern, where are we, say on a scale of 1 to 10? Are there guns on the street? Just go out, somebody told me, in fact, my grandson, I could go out of here right now and buy a gun.
Unfortunately, there is the criminal element that has guns on the street, and they're willing to traffic those guns. Right now we have a 5-man unit called the Violent Crime Apprehension Team, the VCAT unit.
Okay.
And their main focus is to go after violent crimes and guns. And that unit alone has seized over 50 guns this year.
This year
Yes,
alone?
this year alone. And unfortunately, that just shows that there are guns on the street.
Yeah.
But it also shows that they're a needed unit that, can combat and go after those people that are carrying guns.
Mhm, mhm. And I think perhaps parents who have done everything that they can, and you still find your children caught up in these kinds of things, it's pretty hard to deal with. I don't think parents, parenting has changed. We've got people who are still trying to parent, and we've got those who've never even tried,
Unfortunately, you're right.
Never even tried, but that's going to be a continuing concern, I'm sure. And maybe people will go back to saying, you live in this house, people, you can't come in my room, I'm sorry, you crazy. What do you mean I can't? When we were growing up, there was no such thing.
Right.
And I think that maybe we've become a little lax, and children have just absolutely too much leeway in making decisions about where they're going and how they're gonna get there.
Yeah, I think the best thing is just to say that parents need to be parents.
That's right.
Not their best friends, they need to be parents.
They need to be parents. And on that note, we want to say thank you so very much to Captain Jim Pillack filling in today and doing a good job too. So we want to thank you.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, we've been listening to the news update, and we'll see you next month.
Okay.
We will see you next month. All right.
Thanks, Lou.